Welcome everyone. My name is Nancy. I'm the exercise physiologist in the Zakim Center for Integrative Therapies and Healthy Living. Today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about your hip flexors. You may not have spent a lot of time thinking about them, but how many times have you experienced some pain in the front of your hip? Sat in a long car ride or sitting in front of the computer for a while and you stand up and get this pain here. You might even find you can't quite stand up straight because these muscles have gotten very short and very tight from all of that sitting. And our natural inclination is like, I've got some tightness here in the fronts of my hips. I should stretch them. And yes, there's certainly a time and a place for that. But what we often forget when a muscle gets, very short and tight, there's often also a component of weakness in these muscles. So I'm not implying that we need to stop stretching, but if you've been stretching and stretching and stretching and finding that you're not getting any better and this tightness is still here, maybe you also need to be incorporating some strength for these muscles. We don't traditionally think about strengthening these muscles or sort of isolating these muscles in lots of our other traditional strength exercises. Things like squats or lunges, bridges, things like that aren't really necessarily targeting these muscles. So today I'm hoping to kind of show you some strength exercises, and then we're going to do a second video and we're going to talk a little bit about the stretching component of it. So my first recommendation, kind of overarchingly, really for all of us, is to try to decrease our sedentary time as much as we can. So depending, if it is that you have to be in front of the computer, for a long period of time, can you, once an hour, even just stand up from your computer and just lengthen out these muscles a little bit? If you're going to be on a long car ride, can you try to break it up, and get out of the car briefly and just stand up, strengthen, maybe walk around a little bit, to just loosen these muscles up a little bit. And that can often go a long way, but inevitably, we need a little bit more. So first exercise here, we are going to be using a chair. So you're going to have the chair here, and then you're going to want something next to you for balance. So likely a wall will be the most convenient, because this is also going to be a bit of a balance exercise. So what you're going to do is, here it's my right leg and my right hand are going to be next to the wall. My left leg is going to come on top of the chair. Now, my legs are fairly short, so when I bring my foot to the top here, my knee is, already pretty much at hip height. Some of you may find, who have longer legs, that when your leg is on the chair, maybe it's even a smidge lower. But if you're also a bit vertically challenged like myself, I will also show you an option with no chair at all. Because oftentimes just being in this position might already be a bit too much on your hip flexor. Here's where we're going to start though. So I'm going to just slightly shift my weight into my right leg, and then I'm going to take my left knee, I'm going to lift it up off the chair. So I didn't lift very far, maybe an inch, and then I'm going to go back down. I'm going to lift up again, and then back down. So it's a small range of motion, so we do want to make sure that we're not just dropping the leg, that we are lifting and holding, and lowering slowly. And you also want to make sure as you're doing this, if I turn to face you, what you don't want to do when you lift this leg is, to shift, so it's just a straight up and down, and you're not, the position of my standing leg isn't changing. It's staying just that little bend, little micro bend in that standing leg. So if this position is already too painful for you, or that lifting is too much, you can, eliminate the chair from this and just start with some amount of lift. Start at the floor and lift to whatever height you can comfortably do. And over time, you can build up and start to lift that leg higher. And you can also add a pause, a longer hold here at this top position and down. So there are lots of ways to kind of grow, as you get stronger with this exercise. So another version that I like to teach here, I'm going to turn and use the back of my chair for this. So this one is going to be a sort of non-moving version, but we're also going to include a block, and we're also going to potentially include some of the front of your leg. I'm actually going to turn into the other leg so I get a little bit of balance here. So now I'm going to shift my weight into my left leg. My left hand is on the chair. My right leg is going to come up, so I'm similar to where I started on the chair in the last exercise. Now, if you can get your thigh parallel, you want to try to balance your block here. Now, this may be a challenge depending on your pants, depending on the block, but if you can, ideally you're going to try to balance it. Then if you're up for it, what you're going to do is extend your leg and bend. So I'm holding isometrically with my hip flexor, and then this bend and extend is working those muscles in your quad. And you'll see from the side here, I am not fully straightening my leg. Some of you may be able to get your leg straighter than I can, but it is not necessarily the goal of this exercise. Now, some people don't like the bending and extending, so the holding is just fine. The purpose of the block is to try to remind you, if your leg gets tired, the block will fall off. So it's a little reminder to you to make sure your leg is staying up high. So I don't want you holding it here because the purpose is to see if you can balance it while keeping your leg parallel. But again, if the parallel piece is too much, don't use the block and hold it whatever height you comfortably can. And again, you can add that bending and extending, but you'll also notice that I'm not, getting my body involved in the bending and extending. I'm not arching through my back. Okay, so hopefully those two versions gave you some ideas of how to be strengthening these exercises, strengthening these muscles at home, minimal equipment. And then join me for video 2, and we're going to talk a little more strength from the floor, and then we're also going to be addressing the stretching side because, of course, we want to be doing both. Thank you so much.